Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the pre-match build-up for the game between Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United. It's the battle for who is the shittest team today. Both teams are absolutely riddled with injuries, so let's see what puzzle Ruben Amorim has put together today. We've got Mr. Daniel Raj alongside me, and we're going to go through the team right now. So, Dan, I don't know if you've seen it yourself, but this is the starting lineup. Onana in net, De Ligt, Maguire, Mazraoui as your three centre-backs. Dalot at right wing-back. Casemiro, your good mate, and Bruno in the middle. Dorgu at left wing-back. And then Xerxes, Højlund, and Garnacho. So, quality-wise, it doesn't look like it's been affected. But then when we go to the bench, Dan, we've got Harrison, Amas, Friedrichsen, Haven, Lindelof, Fletcher, Kone, Morehouse, and Chido Obe. Eriksson and Yoro are ill. And Ahmad, Mainu, Collier, and Ugarte have all got injuries, which we already know about. So that is the situation at the moment. I'll go through Tottenham's team a little bit later on, but just give us your first initial reaction to that if you can.
Does that mean that none of the bench player is a senior player? My God.
Lindelof is on there. That's the only senior player.
Yeah.
Apart from that, the rest are all academy players.
Yeah, it's in itself, it's a scary thing to see because when you see that you're starting Højlund and Xerxes together, that means like you're out of options. So that because we haven't seen them both starting together unless or until at this point, and we do not have any options. But that's kind of the best 11 left after all the injuries concerns we have. So it's really concerning, and when we are at the very tough stage and we have maybe a couple of cup runs to go and Europa League and the FA Cup, then I think it's going to be with also against the Tottenham team. I know that they have been struggling recently, but they have all the qualities better than us at this point. And the previous meetings against Tottenham hasn't been great for us. I think it's the last we won with Tottenham. I think it was when Ronaldo was here, if I'm not wrong. So
yeah, Cavani and Ronaldo started together, didn't they, in that game?
Yeah, so in itself, the form is bad against the individual team as well as in the Premier League. Also, we are struggling a bit on injury on top of that. A couple of months back when we had all these problems, I thought like we cannot go worse than this. But now I think we have gone very, very down.
Yeah, the quality is lacking. I mean, on paper, they all look fantastic. They've all got big names, Casemiro and Bruno, but, again, individually, they've all have kind of the worries. But before we get into individuals in the team, and before I get to the comment section as well, because there's quite a few of you, so do smash a like on the video for us if you can, before we get into those. The injuries, Dan, let's just start off with them. How much of a blow is that? Obviously, we heard about Ahmad, who's going to be out for the rest of the season. Ugarte's out for the next couple of games, I think. Mainu's out for a couple of weeks. Literally at the wrong time, that, innit? With the window just closing.
Yeah, because if maybe at least a couple of weeks back this would have happened, maybe we could have got a couple of loan moves inside and could have got something to depend on. But now with all the dependable players like Ugarte and Ahmad, they have been kind of a game changers for us in the past games. And now, especially Ahmad, how many times he has single-handedly took us out of all the drop in the form of the whole team, and he has taken all the burden on his shoulders and saved us.
Maybe that's why he's injured, Dan, because he's been carrying us on his back.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's out.
That's why we can see that he was the kind of a player who was, whose work rate is very high, very, very high, and you play him every game and depend on him every game. And he's kind of a player who will not be, kind of a sit back. Whenever he's in an attack and we lose the ball, and he will sit on top and he will just be tracking back. So all the energy he has, he will put everything down. But now I think that's the only player who was working out for us. And now we are, I'm not sure till how long we'll be out without him. But yeah, there is kind of a concern on the other areas as well with Ugarte, who was kind of becoming a kind of a proper player whom we always, kind of last 5 years we have been craving for a central defensive midfielder, and now we are kind of in a place he is not available on a regular basis. So it's a deep concern for us, because you cannot go with the next season with all these set of players with so many injury prone players. I don't think this is kind of a I mean, hard luck or bad luck kind of a thing, but you know that the players are getting injured from the last 3-4 seasons regularly on a regularly basis. We are getting at least one point of season we are getting kind of 10 players out with injury. So that's not a good sign for us as a team. And I think that needs to be improved in the future. When you go in the market and get a player, just get the first test the medical and then just put the offer in. So, but yeah, coming back to the team, it's really a bit concerning because in the midfield area where we have been struggling, though on papers this team looks good. I mean, not that much concerned about. But then if none of the players, the players are any one more injury, then you have to depend on the youth players. And you cannot depend on Casemiro for 90 minutes. There are a few players in this starting 11 also. You cannot depend on them for the 90 minutes. So then whom you be able to bring on in the team. So, I mean, it's a bit concerning there.
That's why I definitely think there's going to be some debuts today. Maybe a Cheeto will get some minutes. Maybe a Sekou Kone will get some minutes. I certainly see a couple of them featuring. And I also thinking, what the fuck are we going to do if a couple of those players get injured today? Because given the nature of the game that it's going to be, given how Spurs play, it is very chaotic. They are at home. They do need a result. So I think there will be quite a few big tackles going in. There will be big distance covered. And I just worry about certain players on there, especially someone like Casemiro, who I can't remember the last time he started a game for us. It must have been under Ruud van Nistelrooy, right? So it's been a good few months since he's fully started a game. So that's an interesting one to keep an eye on. There's so many ways I can go with this, but I just want to go to the comments first because there's quite a few. Ray and 8 is saying that midfield is more depressing than the Cold War. Jesus Christ. Tim99, no Euro or Ericsson in the squad either. They are both ill, Tim. Random guy saying, how in the world did both of our keepers manage to get injured? I didn't even clock that, to be honest. I didn't even notice that Heaton and Bayinda are both injured, which is just crazy, isn't it? When it rains, it pours. It's funny, Dan, because me and Sam was talking the other day, and prior to this stuff coming out about Ahmad and all that, we were saying, like, isn't it weird how we've gone from, under Ten Hag when we had so many injuries and so many muscular kind of pulls and all this kind of stuff. But this season, we don't seem to have had it. That was literally 2 days before Ahmad, the news came out that Ahmad had got injured. So it's just like, it's come at the most awkward time ever.
Yeah, and if before when in the Ten Hag era, we used to think like maybe the intensity of the training is a bit concerning, and that is making players more injury prone, or maybe could be the cause of the injuries that we have been facing. But then again, with a different manager, with a different play style, again you see the same even more number of injuries getting up. So. I'm not sure what it actually is. Maybe the players which are there who are not capable of playing at the high level. I mean, individually they are the skills are there. The experience is there, but then the intensity. I still doubt that when it comes to because Premier League at this point with United, with kind of an Amorim kind of a system, you need all your players running around all the time, and that's where you see that players are getting injured more often. And even it's not only the senior players are getting injured, but the youth players as well are getting injured who are in their prime, who are kind of having the more capable of taking up the the burden on the training side. So I think I'm unable to come to a conclusion where to say like this is the reason why these players are getting injured. So but it's kind of, you cannot say like this is a bad luck, hard luck, because it's happening again and again, time and again. It's kind of how you are managing the players. But I think Amorim was well enough managing the players, but don't know how it come. But then again, you see like as we mentioned about the Ahmad, that we were over dependent on him. But in the midfield side, we were quite rotating a bit more. But then you see the players like Maino, Ugarte are also getting injured. So yeah, I'm not sure how they are going to cope up with this and be able to change something to safeguard your players from getting injured and maybe able to make them available for more games. At least 30 games they should be able to be available per season. But it seems like half of your team is not available for at least 10 to 15 games. So that's kind of a bit concerning. But yeah, and it's also crucial time because you know that the window is closed and you cannot do anything else. And now all the players, it's not like they are kind of 1 week away from coming back. So all these are kind of 2 to 3 weeks away from coming back to the playing games. And Then again, you have those games, very crucial games, kind of knockout games coming in. So I don't think we'll be able to cope up with that. Also, fighting the relegation battle would be the reality at this point when you can see after 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm unable to get to a point like come to a conclusion like what's going wrong in the training ground. But yeah, let's see what happens in the summer.
It's just frustrating, isn't it? I think the two words that United are desperately craving in this side is intensity and athleticism. And we don't have nowhere near enough of that. I mean, Dorgu is one who's starting this time, actually on the left-hand side, which is nice because he started at right wing-back, didn't he, in the last game, and everyone was like, hold on a minute, you brought in a left wing-back to start him on the right. Like, what the fuck's going on here? So it'd be nice to see him on that side. I also prefer Diego Dalot at right wing back as well. I think that's much more balanced, just in my personal opinion. And I think if you're gonna replace anyone in that left-sided centre half for Lissandro, I think also Mazraoui suits the left-sided or right-sided centre half better than he does wing back. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yep. I'm not that much. I'm not a fan of him starting at the centre back role because I want my centre backs to be proper centre backs. I mean, you
but
can.
I mean, out of the group that we've got
available options.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. In that case, I'm fine because you can. Mazraoui is kind of a player whom you can depend on anytime in any position. You can depend on him. In that sense, I'm fine with that starting because playing Dalot on the central back area is kind of a bit. You cannot afford it because you know that his positional sense is not that great. You have seen like a lot of times we concede goals from the the back post and where you see Dalot is not marking his man. So I think Mazraoui can do that job better than Dalot. It's between the option is between Dalot and Mazraoui. Then definitely you have to go with Mazraoui on that place. But yeah, good to see. Dogu at least. Thank God we bought him. Otherwise, I'm not sure whom we would be starting on that place. And also thank God that we didn't sell Garnacho. That was like, after Amad, I think Garnacho could be a player whom we can depend on from the wing side, who can at least do something to create chances or something.
Direct.
So we can depend on him. Just go do something and just shoot the ball. So you know that when Garnacho is playing, you're definitely going to get chances. So that's why even I was reluctant to sell him because you know that the kind of player and the potential he has. I never wanted to sell him, but good that we didn't. But coming back to Mazraoui, I think good. I'm just not going to become a kind of a person who is just bringing bad omen. But I hope that both the right wing back players stay fit. At least
he said it. You said it now. It's gonna happen. You shouldn't have said it.
Just stick to that, man. Just don't make any tackles
wrap them up in cotton wool.
Yeah, because you know that with the game against Tottenham is going to be the tough game. With all the options that we had, we have everything. We have thrown all the dice on the pitch, and now I think we cannot afford more injuries. It's like becoming. You're just taking chances to injure yourself, or you're just going for a win here. So against the Tottenham team, I'm not sure whether we should be going all out 100% when you see that all your players are not available at this moment. Your bench is really empty. So just play safe. Play it safe. Just like it's kind of a community game. Just play it safe at least for 1 or 2 weeks.
Agreed. Andy Williams saying, so are we playing? So we are playing that midfield against a 3-man midfield. We could be 2-0 down in 20 minutes easily. That midfield has zero discipline. Long day ahead. Tottenham are going to run a triathlon in our midfield. Well, I'm going to go through the Tottenham team a little bit later, but let's just take a look. I can go through it now, and then we'll kind of come back to it when we talk about Tottenham in full. But they've got Vicario, Pedro Porro, Davis, Danso, and Spence as their back four. So the centre-back's a little bit shaky. Bentancur, Maddison, Bergvall, Kulusevski, Tell, and Son. That's quite strong, to be fair. The back line you can probably get at. But the midfield, I didn't realise Maddison was fit and available. Also, I didn't know Bentancur was back from his suspension. Bergvall has got legs in that midfield. Kulusevski, Tell, and Son. They haven't all been on song, quote unquote, but individually they're all very, very talented. So if they decide to show up today, this could be an absolute wrecking ball to our defence. So I just hope it isn't anything like that at all. C2 also says, call me negative, but I can't help but feel we won't win the league this season. Rayanator, Ineos just got served the biggest slice of humble pie this season. Pure stupidity. Can I just ask you about that, Dan? Because obviously, when you let Ineos let Anthony and Rashford go, I didn't bring in anybody else in the attacking front. That's I think we said it at the time, but looking back at that now, that's a stupid fucking decision, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. At least you could have, if you know that with Rashford you had kind of an egoistic problem with him, but then with Anthony you didn't have that problem. But if you're not going to bring in a player, at least keep the player. I mean, you know that your players are already getting so many injuries and kind of a players who are not able to, though they are personally they are at their individual level they are great, but with this system they are not performing well. For example, Garnacho would have, I mean, though he was good while coming on from the bench, but he was not starting games more often. But then you need, when you know that you're selling players, I mean, kind of sending out players on loan like Rashford and Anthony, at least bring one player in, a winger, at least to cover up the spaces, because you cannot depend on Ahmad for the whole season. You know that. And with Garnacho, I mean, he's a bit struggling from the very start of the game to, I mean, fit in that kind of a formation. Then definitely you need a winger to bring in at least a loan move, maybe kind of a cheaper role. At least you could have brought in some kind of a Adebayor kind of a player. I mean to that level which we do not. Igalo. I was just recalling his name. So at least some body in there just to be dependent on in the bench. But yeah, it's very incompetent from the team when you know that you are. I mean, you're still there in Europa League and you're still there in FA Cup. You still had slight chance to at least bring something good out of this season. Then you should have been competent in the January. I understand the spending. You cannot spend on a permanent deal. Then at least work on the loan deal. At least one or two, you can definitely do that with at least with Rashford's and with Anthony's pay, which the other teams are covering up. With Aston Villa and Betis are covering up. At least you can bring at least one player in, or you can even cover two players who can be kind of a less wages. So at least bring in bodies inside and put it there. And I mean, that's the kind of a maybe incompetent, because this problem I could see that we left it really late to finalize the deals, and that caused us, that left us with no options. And I think if we consider Tell, if I am Tell, and definitely I would have been thinking like this is the right option I took with going to Tottenham. And you know that the Manchester United, they are not competent enough in the January window. They are not showing any intentions to, I mean, correct or something bring out from this season. So then definitely it's kind of take a back from I understand that they are planning to do something big in the summer, but then definitely you are already there in the middle of the season. You have to do something at least to, I mean, stabilize the ship. Your ship is already drowning. You at least need some patching up to at least keep the ship on top of the water. So I think that in that area, I think Ineos have failed to impress the fans. I think I'm not sure whether that's a failure in reaching out the deals or completing deals, or whether their intentions was from the beginning was not to go for any players in the winter transfer window. But that in itself, they shows at least they should learn from this, that they should not. It's kind of you're taking a very high risk on that. I mean, you're putting the whole season on the line. You can be even, I mean, fighting for relegation battle in the coming after 1 month. So that in itself should see that. I mean, they did well at the beginning, but then in the January they really disappointed the fans.
I think Ineos have made some massive mistakes coming into the club, and I think I could sit here and spend hours, genuinely could, on the mistakes that they have made. And I think anyone who had seen what had happened over at Nice initially in the French league and all the kind of mess ups there and changing of sporting directors and managers and recruitment was bizarre at times. And eventually they're starting to get it right. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're third in the French league at the moment, so they're pushing for Champions League places, which would be successful for them. But I definitely think they've made some mistakes. Now, we said before, Dan, when it rains, it pours. Ruben Amorim has just told Sky Sports that Kobbie Mainoo's out for the rest of the season as well. So Ahmad and Kobbie are both out, which initially it was only a couple of weeks. But fuck me, this is just getting worse and worse. I feel like it's just we're dragging ourselves to the end of the line. I don't know about you, but my anxiety and pressure is going to be relieved when we get past that 40 point mark. As soon as we go past that, I mean, we can't be relegated. That's when I'll be like, okay, we just. I mean, the season's written off anyway. If you don't have those players, you mentioned before the FA Cup and the Europa League, having those two players missing, I mean, that just decreases our chances by another 10%, doesn't it?
Yeah, even I think even I don't think we'll be able to pass the next. I mean, the match day in Europa League and the FA Cup. I'm really concerned now with that. But the only focus at this point, I think the least I can expect is that we don't get relegated. So that's the least I can expect for this season at this moment. But yeah, then again, it's totally on Ineos, whatever they have done. I mean, their business, they have.
Well, they're relaxed about it, Dan. They're saying they're relaxed about it.
I mean, how can they be that much relaxed? When I would prefer then, if you compare then Glazers, compare Ineos with Glazers, I think Glazers were better. At least they were getting someone in, at least the wrong person. At least they were getting someone in the team at that point. And if they were at least, though they were spending the money in the wrong places, but at least they were spending to some extent on players in the transfer window. So I mean, yeah. It's going to be tough times coming in. It's like every week, week in, week out, you just think like what worse can happen, and then you see like something happening, and you can like.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember
what worse could have been. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just saying, I remember then this time last season when we was all saying it can't get any worse than this. It's under Ten Hag, it cannot get any worse. There's no chance. And I'm kind of like becoming a bit more. Like looking at Ten Hag, the way he was setting up, I feel like he was almost creating chaos on purpose so we would get goals out of the team. Do you know what I mean? Because I remember a period in December when we scored like 1 goal in 6 games or something. It was. I mean, Højlund had been passed to 4 or 5 times in that same time period as well. So I think Ten Hag just looked at the situation and went, do you know what? I'm just going to rock the boat and just fucking go for it and let's just see what happens. Obviously, that's not sustainable. And ultimately, that's why he lost his job, because it was way too open and the midfield was getting ran over every single game. I'm certainly not comparing Ruben Amorim to that. But you look at this team does need a shake-up today. Whatever that is, I don't know if he's going to tweak something. He spoke about that in terms of certain rotations, or maybe, that could be formations on the pitch, could be something tactical. We won't know until it kicks off. But an area of that pitch that I look at a moment in the midfield, you look at Maddison, Bentancur, and Kulusevski, whoever it is, Bergvall, is in there as well. That's a big, big worry today, isn't it? Big, big worry.
Yeah, definitely. You know that, but I mean, one slight positive side of it that I can see is Bruno was really good when playing on that position in the last few times when he was tried playing in that. He has the experience of playing in that position, so I think in that area to some extent we are fine. But then again, after 60-minute mark, I'm a bit concerned because you don't have any other players to come to replace them. And Casemiro, you know that he's kind of a bit slow player. And playing against these kind of players, I mean, the fast, pacey players, Kulusevski, Son, and Tella is a pacey player, and Maddison, you know that how trickster he is. And with Bentancur, all the experience he has, I mean, he's kind of he's a top player. And I think the midfield itself, it's kind of a bit concerning. I hope that at least one out of a wing back should come in the middle, just to support our midfield, at least maybe Dorgu or this side Dalot. I don't expect Dalot to play that role, but maybe Dorgu who can do that. But then you compensate one player in the attack. So I think with Mazraoui on the right side, I'm okay. But then again, with that mindset, you know that Mazraoui will be more looking out to go up front. That discipline will be required on his end, because you know that on that side, you will have Son, and you know that how dangerous he is. So I think that area would be quite concerning. But that midfield battle, I think with the lineup itself, it's kind of looked like we have lost the midfield battle already. But just having a little hope and little glimpse what Bruno has shown to us. Maybe Bruno being disciplined in this game would be a big matter to us to contain that midfield.
It'd be nice if
and
he
that
was.
We haven't seen.
You just never get it, do you? And he'll end up losing his head and moaning at the ref. I mean, he'll certainly get a yellow card today for sure. But like we said, we have got youngsters on the bench, so I don't know who's going to come on. I don't know who's going to get an opportunity, but there's a couple of midfielders in there. Obviously, Chido Olbe will be the one that I think the majority of United fans would want to see maybe for a run out for 10-15 minutes if Hoyland's having a stinker again. Amarin was speaking about the academy players just then to Sky, and he was saying sometimes these difficult moments can bring good things, and I think they know what they need to do to play in this football club. They grew up here, so this is an opportunity with a lot of problems that we have in the squad. It's an opportunity to have these young players playing for our team. Yeah, I mean, what a moment. You got to be thinking about it. You know, like Rashford's moment when he came on under Louis van Gaal. Obviously, there was injuries. I think James Wilson, Martial, a couple of attackers went out. He came on and scored. What are your expectations, Dan, for these youngsters to come on just to play with freedom last 10-15?
I hope that at least we have one or two Mino and Ahmad kind of a player in that, or maybe Garnacho kind of a player in that. Yeah, that would be great for us. But yeah, definitely that's. I mean, at this point, you know that we are already in the conceding side, and then the youngster may know that that's not if. I mean, they have nothing to lose at this point because you know that the team is already going down, and you don't have the firepowers to. So they will be playing their own game. I think we might get one or two players who can really become kind of a good prospect for us to look into for the coming games as well. I think maybe Chido, I'm not sure that much because he's too young for this. I know that he has been really great, scoring a lot of goals in the lesser age group team against teams, but I mean, this is a different beast, and I have seen the games and the highlights of Chido Obi, but I'm still not that much convinced that he'll be able to perform at the same level against in the senior teams. Maybe if he does, that's really great. But I'm still not that much convinced at this point. But yeah, you need someone, at least one or two players, to step up from the youth players. We cannot. I mean, we don't have any window to. You cannot. There's nothing to lose at this point. So as a point of, from the youth's perspective, there's nothing to lose. You just go in, just play your game, and show what your capabilities are. Because all those players which are there in the bench, they are kind of high talented players and with a high potential. So that it could be their stage for them to prove themselves and kind of become a regular starter for this team.
Yeah, basically, Dan is just basically saying, fuck it. Let's just do whatever happens. Let's just go with it. And let's just, if they play well and they come on, let's just, do you know what I mean? It is, you've got to turn up today. Let me just I was going to put something on the screen, but I think it might fuck with the graphics a little bit. But I was looking at something before, and I put it in the group chat. Oh no, put it in, just sent it to myself because I thought that's just mad. So currently, right now, with Everton beating Crystal Palace yesterday, they've got up to 13th in the table. All right, they've gone above me. Fucking hell, as if I'm the full club. Both United, and Tottenham. So Everton are on 30 points. We're on 29. Tottenham are on 27. If we lose against Tottenham today, right, we'll go below both of them teams. Tottenham will go above us. And then, guess who we've got next, Dan? We've got Everton at Goodison Park in the next game, who will be above us. And then guess who we've got after that in the next game? Ipswich, who are below us as well. So all these games that you're looking at the moment, they're all six-pointers. Genuine 6-pointers, Dan.
I never imagined that we'll be competing with these teams to come up and climb the ladder in the table. But yeah, I think at this point of time, like every game is kind of it's kind of a test for you to just hold yourself up and at least stay in the table, stay in the main league rather than just, how that would be a disaster too. We will be relegated. That's going to be a disaster. You'll be doubting your own lives, like why I am there still alive in this era. So yeah, but yeah, I think I still we are very far from that point, that thought. But yeah, it could become a reality if this continues. But yeah, then again, coming back to the previous thing, like the youths have to step up at this point because we have no other option to see. And as I mentioned, like I was just comparing the thing, like when you put one player, kind of when you remember that Mino was coming into the team, and we were like, just don't put that player into the pressure. And because at that time only he was the one who is the youth player, with less experience. But at this and around him there are all the experienced players, and you have all the pressure on you to prove yourself. But at this point, if you see the bench and the youth players will be looking at each other, I mean, they're kind of like there's nothing. I mean, nobody. If you don't perform, also you'll be still be at least playing a couple of more games. So I think that they'll be freely playing. I mean, there's something could happen today. You could see one or two star players coming up and maybe save us from at least from this disaster. We are when at least to balance the ship for at least 1 or 2 weeks. But yeah, I'm not. I'm losing words like how to at least support this club with all the. I mean, with all the options we have, just to stay positive.
Can you imagine the generation growing up now, are like so unfortunate because they're growing up with a team, they're becoming used to kind of this mediocre Man United team who are just, they win the odd cups despite them being shit, but for the majority of the time can't seem to iron out any form of consistency. The recruitment is as scattered as their approach to almost everything in football. I actually feel sorry for some of the kids coming up because it's just like they don't remember what it was like when United was absolutely incredible, when you had Rooney, Ronaldo, fucking Tevez, all these players, and it's night and day now. It's such a big difference. I want to go back to the comments because I've neglected them for too long, and there's loads of them. So, T2 Diesel saying, call me negative. Oh, sorry, I've already read that out. Ruben has got to say something, though. I think that's 5-7 injuries, illnesses in a week, man. What the fuck? Yeah, they've all come like... I mean, Sam described it yesterday as it's like when you're waiting for one bus, it doesn't turn up for ages, and then 4 turn up, and you're like, what's going on here? Punch Paint saying, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Spurs are excitement among mistakes, and we can take full advantage. We need to keep the ball, and Maguire needs to have the pace to stay with the high line. I don't think Maguire's got pace, mate. Especially getting older. It's only going to get even worse, isn't it? The only thing is we've done well away from home under Ruben is where best performances have come from. Just such a shame everyone's dropped like flies. Luma saying, can you please tell me when will Dorgu play on the left side? He's playing on the left side.
Yeah,
I presume
because we have
today. There's no one else, is there? Literally. I really hope Ruben has his tactics right. If we get cut open, I'll be furious. Spurs are shite. Listen, it's going to make the post-match analysis really interesting. I think it's me, Chivi, Shreyas, and Sam all on after the game. So we'll be breaking this down in full. So it'd be nice to have as many of you as possible in that, and hearing all your opinions. Just in your opinion, Dan, which manager will be more positive going into this? Do you think?
I think definitely Tottenham manager will be positive because you know that there is no option left for us. I mean, if we are playing bad, then there is no way to improve this game. I mean, then if you are, I mean, if you get 1 or 2 goals, then definitely there's no coming back from this. I mean, you cannot see. I mean, realistically, I won't be. I mean, expecting any miracles to happen in this game if you go down 1 or 2 goals down. So
that's the key thing, though,
isn't
it, Dan?
1 or 2.
Yeah.
Don't concede. Yeah, don't concede. If you concede, I don't think there is a way back coming up from this because the confidence will be shattered, and you don't see anything you can depend on the bench to come and do the change or change the game for us. So I think for Tottenham, they have already smelled the blood. I think now they'll be going all out attack. That's why they have chosen this lineup, because they could have been a little bit defensive. But you see, all the players, their attacking players are kind of a pacey players. And with our defenders, I mean, bit slow as compared to the previous. I mean, all the firepowers we have with Maguire and is it Delict? I think Delict is also not that. I mean, pacey, not that pacey when it comes, and so it's going to be very crucial when they have to hold their ground and just use their body more often than just going for a tackle. So I think that discipline will be very key for today's game, especially with the centre backs. And especially with Bruno and Casemiro. So that's where the game lies. And on top of it, you will definitely see chances coming up for us because you know that their centre backs also not that much great and experience. So that midline is the main target for you. So I think I hope Xerxes will have a better game today to enjoy his game and play kind of a bit one or two kind of a passing game. I hope that. I mean, it's good actually to see Xerxes and Bruno Fernandes, ahead and behind. So you can see some link-ups getting into the gameplay. But Højlund at the same time, Højlund should be supporting and Xerxes and Bruno at this in this game to get something out of it. So definitely you are going to get chances. But then every time we speak about the chances, we say that you have to take your chances. Definitely you will get the chances, but then it comes to how you are taking those chances. So. If you lose the chances, I think that's the end of your game. So, Yeah, that's the way it's there is no window of error, and at the same time you have to be very clinical.
I mean, this is a team, Dan, in Spurs, who I know we're kind of speaking them up a bit, is because we both expect a bit of them to rush us basically in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes and smell blood and try create chances and really kind of push us back. But they are still a team who's conceded 37 goals, so you can get at them if it's done right. I almost feel like I remember looking at this game last night when I was doing my notes and stuff for it, and I was thinking it probably would suit more like an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer kind of game, like you sit back and counter attack because of how open they can be at the back. I think if you had Rashford and Pogba playing it over and this kind of things, I'm not saying we should go back to that, but I'm just saying if we had that set of profiles at the minute, I think I would be more positive about us getting a result tonight. Just in my opinion, I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be, again, kind of, you cannot expect us to dominate any areas of the field. I mean, in defense, you know that we are not that great at this point, and midfield also, it's kind of a not tried and tested midfielders we have at this, the combination we have at this moment, and the attacking lineup also is kind of a bit new because we hardly started Hoyland and Xerxes at the same time. So all the areas of the pitch, we are not able to, we won't be able to boss that area, but at the same time, then definitely we have to switch back to kind of stay back and look for chances, and then put bodies up front rather than just just trying out from every areas and every attack. You cannot put your bodies, you cannot throw up all the bodies in the front, because and that's why I'm stressing on that point that Bruno has to be disciplined, because you know that how Casemiro is, he won't be able to control the midfield on his own. Then at the same time, Bruno, you know that his mindset is like always go and join the attack, and that's where it can hit us back. So Bruno's discipline would be key for us. But at the same time, yeah, you know that you have to be very disciplined while defending the ball. You don't just the discipline would be the key for this game. You cannot expect us to dominate this game. I know that the possession will be very less at this game, at least maybe somewhere around 30-35. So just whatever you have the position, you just try to make, at least if we are able to make 5 attacks or 5 chances, create chances, at least you get a couple of them and then sit back. I think that would be the more motto of this game.
Yeah. I agree. I can see the game definitely playing out like that. But Spurs, I think Spurs' form at the minute is interesting. 2 wins, 3 losses in the last 5 games for them. 7 goals scored, 8 goals conceded. Obviously knocked out of multiple cup competitions. 15th in the league, 2 points behind us as well. Ange Ball has got everybody talking at the minute. It's, at the very start, people were loving it. They were blowing teams away, beating City 4-0. Aston Villa, I think they smacked as well for 3 or 4-0. But the amount of injuries that have completely broken them down, they're so open. So I don't know what to expect. I just know that individuals, the quality that they have, someone like Kulusevski, for example, who's probably been their best player, you cannot afford to be giving him, Maddison, these kind of creative players space, because if they're feeding players like Tell and Heung-min Son and these kind of guys, it's going to be a long night, innit?
Yeah, and definitely they will be seeing, comparing the paces of our defense and comparing with themselves, the attackers they have, they are kind of very spacey. In the Premier Leagues, they are very capable of, matching all the pace that the Premier League had with Son, and with Kulusevski with his skills. He has been very effective on the right side, and with Tell, their new signing, who is very pacey, and with Maddison, you have seen that at the beginning of the season, he was kind of, competing for the Ballon d'Or. That kind of a form he was in, and he's well capable of. And we have seen that in the previous games when it compared Maddison with Bruno Fernandes, Maddison has been always, better, being on the better side as when compared to Bruno in the game. So I think they have a very dangerous attack to face. We'll be facing a very dangerous attack at this point, and you can see the lot of passing going around on the Tottenham side. The 1-2 touches, passes, and the runs they are making. I can already sense that coming in. So I think we should be ready for that and just hold your ground and mark the players rightly and just be attentive on the sides and just mark. I don't want to see that Dalot thing happening again in this game. When you see that happens mostly with Tottenham. You leave the players like Heung-min Son and Kulusevski on the far post, and they just scored the goals. Most of the time they scored goals from that side, from the far post, and that's the weak point of us also when we play. I mean, with Dallo, I mean, we have seen a lot of times that thing happening. So yeah, discipline will be key, but yeah, dangerous Tottenham can. I know that they are not that great in the form, but when it comes to playing against Manchester United, their form just turns up into
Well,
kind of a prime.
They've already beaten
Tottenham.
us in the Carabao Cup 4-3, and they've beaten us at Old Trafford 3-0. They scored 7 goals against us in 2 games. So if there's anyone there who don't think Tottenham's going to score today, I don't know what to tell. I would be astonished if they didn't get a goal, genuinely. So it's how we react and it's how we score is what I want to see. Alex is saying the only positive from these injuries is we might get to see what the academy can do. Lads, I just pray for us no goal or assist for that bloody tell. Otherwise, we'll look like prats and Ineos, dear Lord, will be right under the sword. If that tell scores today or even gets an assist, you can already see the tweets that will come out and everything on social media for sure. Punch Paint saying Obi for Hoyland sub is going to make way fans erupt. Wu-Tang Clan bring the ruckus. Sam saying Dorgu warming up at left wing back, and Punch saying referees Peter Banks. He's not involved in Everton or loser pill matches, so you know what that means. So we're going to finish off on our betting slips, and we're going to finish off with a couple of the managers' quotes as well. So Amarin, in relation to this game, saying we have to fight for every ball. We're growing up on that, so we want to win the game. It doesn't matter. The past is the past. We're looking for this game, and we want to win. On standards and expectations, he says that doesn't change and we want to win the game. Of course, we have to adapt the team to its characteristics that we have in the moment, but the goal is always the same, to win the game, and we will try to do that. I'm sure you will, Ruben. Right, what can you see happening in this game, Dan?
I can see us conceding at least 2 goals and Bruno Yellow already coming in. Mm-hmm. And I can sense maybe one player from the bench for us will score or assist. Ooh. So that's the 3 I can go for.
Interesting. I think Kulusevski will score or assist. I think our goalkeeper is going to be making a lot of saves. So hopefully he's in good form. I think Casemiro is going to get a yellow card, and I think someone like a Tell or a Son with a shot on target or throw in there as well. So that's what I can see. I think for a neutral, it's going to be entertaining, to be fair. I think they're going to enjoy it. For us, it's going to be fucking nervy. It's going to be a horrible watch. It's just going to, anxiety is going to peak. But I wish you all, everyone who's currently watching at the moment, I wish you all the best and your health the best watching this game, because it's going to be all over the place. Remember, me, Sam, Shreyas, and Chive are all on the post-match reaction. So I want to see as many of you as possible come and join us and discuss the game in full, despite whatever happens. Apart from that, go and enjoy the game. I mean, let's just see what happens, Dan. Cheers for coming on, Dan. We'll see you in the next one, yeah?